Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the IKamper Skycamp 2.0. We recently picked this tent up from Big Tent Outdoors in Coquitlam, and so far we've been using it for about, I'd say since February, so it's been a few months, 3 or 4 months now. Really love the tent, and we had an easy purchase with Big Tent Outdoors. Everything went very smoothly, but let's talk about the tent. So right off the get-go, it's IKamper. This is in a soft shell, it's a hard shell. Makes it quite easy to open up. Setup takes within, I don't know, maybe a minute, and closing it up probably about the same, a minute. So we're gonna walk through this with you and just show you exactly how it all works. First, you're given a key. You get 2 of these keys. They're specific to your IKamper. If you don't have these keys, you lose one. You can always have IKamper take your serial number and they can send you a new key. But you're given 2, so don't lose both. You only lose, if you lose them, lose just one, not both. But anyways, you're given the key. Unlocks the tent. Make sure to put that in your pocket or in your truck. I like to put it in the door handle, little space. There'll be a little latch. And then don't even have to work at all. Move these cords, strings, ropes, whatever you'd like to call them, out of the way. Once you got to that part, all you got to do is adjust your ladder to the right positioning, which can be a little tricky. We're still new to it. Haven't gotten it dialed right down, but somewhere around there. We're used to just the old kind of style ladders, not these new ones, so we have a bit of a struggle with getting them situated. There we go. Next, you're going to grab your poles. We keep our poles in the truck. You can keep them in the tent. We're just so used to using the poles all the time, and we don't like digging for them in the tent. You'll be given a total of 6 poles. 2 for there, 2 for the other side, and then these little bit differently shaped ones for the front entrance. Now your front entrance is done. You can also buy the IKamper Annex, which zips onto this fly here and extends, I believe, about 6 feet out and gives you a lot of shaded area if you choose to do that. Take that route. Another option too, if you live in a very wet area or the wet coast like we do, you can buy the optional rain fly that comes out and extends over the ladder and gives you a little bit more protection when getting out of the tent when it's raining. These flies, tent poles, attach underneath. They do attach underneath if you lock them in place. What I like to do is just start with that one first. Window's gonna look like. We usually just roll them up. You have that option just to roll them up and leave them rolled up instead of having them sticking out like this. We tend to just leave them rolled up. We don't use the sides very often. And then your excess rope here, it can just sit anywhere you want it to be, off to the side. These side ones that suck the tent in, they just kind of hang out until you go to close it back up again. So let's take a look at the inside. Right away, you're gonna have your big door. And you're gonna roll that up. And then your no-see mesh, or how they like to call it. And then show you the inside. So once you get inside, you're gonna notice the big map on the back, the quilt, which is a really cool feature. And then you're gonna notice the mattresses, and these are high density 2.5 inch foamies, and they actually are really comfortable. I've heard reviews, some people like them, some people don't. We actually do like them quite a bit. Your window, your skylight, which we don't have open at the moment. And if you take the fly off the tent itself, you can actually stick your hands out there. We like to keep the fly on, it just rains quite a bit here on the wet coast. That's really it with the tent. Seeing the inside, seeing the outside. So now, let's see how we close it up. First things first, take the poles out. And if you keep the poles in the tent, put them in the bag, throw them in the tent. The one rule of thumb with this tent is that you need to take the smaller mattress and slide it over top of the big mattress. Due to the size of it, when you close it up, there isn't a lot of room for bedding. You can maybe fit a sleeping bag and a blanket, and if you're lucky, maybe one pillow. We decided to opt out and keep our pillows now in a tote in the truck, and we just use them. We just take them out and put them in the tent when we have the tent open. That being said, there are little tricks and hacks that you can find online about it. But as for closing it up, you want to keep all the windows slightly open so that the air has somewhere to escape. Dust off the sand. Don't let that disappear on you. Hold it over like a regular tent. And then these little dangly ropes that we talked about earlier that weren't doing anything while it was closed, open, sorry. You're gonna wanna make sure to flip them up and over. So that way it's grabbing the sides of the tent. And this is my favorite part. Just grab these two with one hand, wrap them around your hand, give them a slight tug as you're coming down. And then take all this excess here and just hide it in there. To close, it's a little bit tricky. Right now we have sleeping bags and a blanket, no pillows though. However, you really gotta push down on it and get it hooked back on, which can be a little bit of a challenge by yourself, or especially when it's raining and the tent's slippery. And due to how high, or if you have a certain rack style, it might be harder, as like mine is, where it's a little bit of a trick to get your hand in there. So once you got that latched up, you take your key, your trusty key that you haven't lost. And now it's done, it's closed. You're ready to take off from camp. Pretty quick setup, makes it really easy. No climbing up on the truck like a soft shell where you're trying to fold all the insides in. And yeah, I have no complaints with this tent so far. Okay, so let's talk about the pros. Pros, easy setup, easy takedown. Takes about 2 minutes to set up, 2 minutes to take down. That's a good pro right there. I'd say your second pro is that you've got way more space. They advertise this as a California King. I'm not sure if it's exactly a California King, but it is quite big in there. You can fit easily 4 people, even 5 if you wanted to. For ourselves, it's just me and the wife. We've got plenty of room. We can take our bags up there. We can take the Blue Eddy up there if we want to, so we can charge our phones. We could have a whole date in there if we wanted to. Third pro, and I'd say, is that the hard shell. The hard shell is actually really good if you got a really windy night. You can move the vehicle so that the hard shell opens up against the wind, and that right there is going to damper some of that wind noise if you have trouble sleeping. It's very thin and very aerodynamic. With traditional rooftop tents, they were always bulky with that soft cover on them, and they usually always stuck up quite a bit, and they're just a box. And when it comes to aerodynamics, they're more of just a drag while you're driving down the highway. With the way the IKamper is set up, it's got more of an aerodynamic shape, which in this day and age, who can complain if you're getting better fuel economy? But that being said, those are my few little pros about it. There's a lot more, but let's talk about the con. You can't fit your bedding in there easily, which is kind of a bummer for some. Given myself, I drive a Toyota Tacoma, and the space already alone is not enough for what we do. But it's doable. However, you just can't get the pillows in there and close it up easily without a second hand. You are forced in only being able to open it up one side. So I can't take this tent off my rack and flip it the other way without, well, changing the way it works with the aerodynamics. So that being said, I'm stuck to be only having my tent opened up passenger side, which is fine. For most people, I don't think that's really a con, but for me, that's a con. Coming from my old rooftop tent, you were able just to turn it around easily. It wouldn't matter. You could have a driver's side or a passenger side. Keys. The keys. Yes, are they pro? Yeah, no one's gonna break into your tent because it's locked up. But are they a con? Yes, because if you lose both your keys on a trip and you're far away from home with nobody able to get the keys for you, you're either not able to open your tent or you're not able to close your tent properly, which could be a really big pain if you're on a long trip. That being said, you would still be able to at least close your tent and put a ratchet strap on it to get you home. But other than that, there really is no other cons that I can think of. Tons of pros of this tent. It's a great solid tent too. The material itself is great. It's almost like a blackout material. And it doesn't. We haven't had any problems with condensation. Yeah, overall, it's just been a great tent. So the retail price here in Canada, I can't remember exactly, but I think they start at about 45 and range up to 55. This is the actual Skycamper 2.0, and they put out a new one, the 3.0, which ranges a little bit higher in price. But this is still solid, hands down, a good tent. So if you're looking for a tent and you can't justify paying for the 3.0, the 2.0 will do the job just great as well. It's a solid tent. And I'd like to thank Big Tent Outdoors for helping us with this purchase, because so far this has been the best purchase. That wraps up the IKamper Skycamp 2.0 review. If you like this review, please subscribe to my channel, and to all my subscribers already, thank you so much for subscribing and watching. And as we move forward, I'll hopefully continue to put out more videos. We're currently on our week-long trip, so stay tuned for some footage on that. Gonna have a few parts probably, depending on how much footage we have. But yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for watching.